Now at 8, vehicles damaged and a Ventura County construction site left in shambles after a shoring wall comes crashing down. Plus, an act of kindness going viral online. The local woman trying to reunite items with the child who lost them. Danny?
Hi, Juan. Warmer today, a scorcher tomorrow. We're walking you through the timing of a next weather alert for the heat. Mike?
Hey, Danny here at the desk. There is new video of a really wild police shooting that happened in the San Fernando Valley. We'll show you the moments the suspect shot at a police helicopter. KCAL News at 8 starts right now.
This is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Welcome to KCAL News at 8. I'm Juan Fernandez. We begin tonight with a construction mishap in Ventura County that caused a large part of the ground to collapse, as you see here. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Now, Mike, this took some cars with it as well.
Yeah, Juan, it did. And so what happened here is there's a shoring wall. They're digging out a foundation for what's supposed to be a new apartment building, according to the Ventura County Star. And when they did that, one of the walls gave way and left the land on the other side of it to slide with it. I want to show you some pretty crazy video of the moment this happened.
There's nothing they can do, Devin.
I know.
Nothing they can do.
I know. Yeah, you hear that guy telling Devin there's nothing they can do after he watched that vintage truck slide down there as that land moved. You see all the cracks in the asphalt there. A really wild scene. I just got a phone with the Ventura City Fire Department. They tell me that they did respond. They sent one engine out there. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. But the big deal now is the construction crews have to stop working. The fire department tells me that they will have to coordinate now with the city emergency services to figure out the best way forward, because now you've got to figure out a way to shore up the land, but then remove all of the stuff that is on top of it. Of course, they're going to want to come out and check. You see that house or that structure, that business maybe, that is right there as well. They'll have to see if there is any structural integrity issues for that. But this large hole that was being dug for this apartment building, apparently, that wall gave way, causing the land on the other side of it to slide as well. A really tough situation out there for those people who lost those cars or had those cars damaged and all of that. There is some other video where they were actually trying to pull them out, but it, of course, was not safe because you just don't know how unstable that land is. Juan, coming up in our later hours, our Lauren Posen is on scene. She'll have a live report for us coming up.
All right, sounds good, Mike. Thank you. To next weather now, with triple-digit heat expected on the final Friday in May. A part of SoCal really feeling that heat tomorrow, Danny.
Yeah, so it was warmer today, Juan, but by tomorrow it is going to be a scorcher for our inland communities. Today we saw 90s in the high deserts, mid-80s in the Inland Empire, mid-70s in downtown Los Angeles. But we are cranking up those temperatures as we go into tomorrow. Even right now, it's 5 to 10 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Let's talk about the Inland Empire. Tomorrow we're waking up sunshine. So not a whole lot of marine layer for our inland spots. We'll still see it for the beaches. Low 60s to start, mostly sunny, 80 already by 9 o'clock. By noon, it's already going to be kind of too hot to eat lunch outside, mid-90s, and then triple digits once we get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So upper 90s, lower 100s in the Inland Empire. There's that next weather alert. We've been talking about it. Tomorrow is the day, high deserts. Our Antelope Valley seeing the hottest day of 2025. Upper 90s in the valleys, upper 80s in Los Angeles and Orange counties. Beaches will see morning clouds, some dense fog tomorrow morning with mid-70s in the afternoon, lower 80s for the mountains. So coming up, we're going to walk you through the timing of heat in your neighborhood tomorrow. And then this weekend, we're talking humidity and even the chance for some showers. So we're going to walk you through the timing of that for your weekend. That's all coming up in your next weather, Juan.
Changes are coming.
Yeah.
Danny, thank you. A Glendale jewelry store out millions tonight after a brazen break-in. The suspects coming right through the roof. Authorities say they drilled through the safe, igniting ammunition inside, causing an explosion. Security cameras were damaged in that explosion. Still unclear tonight if police will be able to get any video footage from the heist. The federal appeals court has reinstated President Trump's wide-ranging tariffs on goods from dozens of nations. It comes just a day after a 3-judge panel ruled President Trump overstepped his authority by imposing tariffs under an emergency powers law. The appeals court ruling allows the president's tariffs to stay in place, at least for now. The administration says it will seek to enact tariffs through other means if their legal challenges are unsuccessful.
Even if we lose, we will do it another way. And I can assure the American people that the Trump tariff agenda is alive, well, healthy, and will be implemented to protect you.
The appeals court ruled Trump's tariffs can continue until the panel considers arguments on the case. Meantime, stocks inched up as investors kept a close eye on how President Trump's tariffs plans might play out. The Dow gained 117 points. The Nasdaq was up 75 and the S&P 500 added another 24 points. Tensions tonight between the U.S. and China over student visas. The State Department says it will aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students as warranted. KCAL News reporter Jasmine Veal with reaction from UCLA, where thousands of international students are enrolled.
At 12 years old, Gabe Wang was on national TV in Beijing singing Chinese opera.
欢迎大家来到 UCLA.
He's now pursuing music, composition, and voice as a freshman at UCLA through a student visa.
I'm a Chinese Canadian. I just really like America and the West Coast and stuff.
But Wang says the end of this school year hitting a low note for many of his Chinese friends after the U.S. State Department announced it is beginning to pull student visas for Chinese nationals studying in the U.S.
I'm hearing a lot of concerns in the international community with some of my Chinese friends, because obviously some are afraid to leave the country if they, if they get their visas revoked, not being able to come back to school.
There's an interest in making sure that those who are here from China on a visa understand that we are taking our national security seriously, and we are looking at their visas, and if everything's fine, terrific.
The Trump administration expanding its efforts to restrict international students with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. Earlier this week, the State Department ordered U.S. embassies to temporarily stop scheduling new student visa appointments.
And our focus is making sure that everyone who does want to send their child to a school in this country can do so knowing that they're going to be safe.
You can see just walking around campus a group of UCLA students trying to bring back Cantonese here at UCLA. The University of California says it too is very concerned with this announcement that all of its international students contribute greatly to research and teaching.
The diversity of, for sure, I mean UCLA, the diversity of cultures really, I think, helps everybody grow.
UCLA says its international student count stands at a little over 6,000 of the more than 46,000 enrolled. USC more specific, saying its number of international students from China is at nearly 6,000. China denouncing the plan as discriminatory and said it hurts America's image in the rest of the world. Wang says despite this announcement, he's not changing his summer travel plans.
I'm going back to Canada and also China, so it's going to be a fun trip.
In Westwood, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News.
More tension tonight in the ongoing debate over trans athletes competing in California high school sports. The California State track meet happens tomorrow in Clovis. A transgender athlete from Harupa Valley named A.B. Hernandez will compete in girls triple jump, high jump, and long jump in the state finals. A group of leaders in Fresno County held a news conference calling on the state to, quote, protect girls' sports.
The CIF, Governor Newsom, and the state legislature have failed our female athletes. There is a distraction that hangs like a cloud over this weekend's events.
President Trump has weighed in on the debate, accusing Governor Newsom of illegally allowing men to play in women's sports. He calls the decision to let Hernandez compete, quote, totally demeaning to women and girls. The Shower of Hope provides a place for the unhoused in L.A. to clean up, but the vital service is in jeopardy tonight. KCAL News reporter Jeff Nolan explains how funds could be washed away by the city's budget.
Off and on for 20 years, unhoused.
Anthony Rodaball may not have a roof over his head, but he still has a lot of pride. 3 times a week, he goes to this mobile shower in the Westlake district.
I feel less offensive to other people.
There are 8 trailers like this serving LA where there is a large homeless population. The program called the Shower of Hope is funded through the LA Sanitation Department, but City Hall is dealing with an $800 million budget shortfall. The latest budget proposal would end this service by the end of June.
If this went away, everybody would smell pretty bad.
We profiled the 5-year-old program 2 years ago. The executive director says personal hygiene is essential to public health, reminding people of the early days of the pandemic when there was a hepatitis outbreak on the streets of San Diego.
In the last 6 weeks, the city of LA has 2 hepatitis and 1 typhus outbreak.
The showers and bathrooms are sanitized after each use, and free hygiene products are available. The staff comes from a program that helps former gang members and convicts turn their lives around.
It's very prideful for me because I get to help out people in the way that I was helped before, when I was in the street.
Last week, Councilman Hugo Soto Martinez introduced a motion to try to find funding to restore the program that's often used by people before they go to work.
How vital is hygiene in terms of getting a job or maintaining a job?
Nobody's going to hire you if you don't show up clean. Nobody wants you at work if you're not clean, and you're not going to feel comfortable if you're not clean.
It's just better to be dressed well and presentable, and people will give you a shot at a career and whatnot, and if you look like crap, they won't.
No matter who you are, we could all use a fresh start. In the Westlake District, Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
Sunny and Gizmo inching closer to independence. Taking a nap right now, though. We'll have an update on the eaglets tonight from Big Bear. Plus, a backpack and stuffed animal left behind at LAX. The Good Samaritan determined to reunite them with their rightful owner. And Mike back on the desk with an update for us tonight on a brush fire that's burned more than 100 acres in Fraser Park. Crews are gaining the upper hand tonight on a brush fire that broke out along the 5 freeway in Fraser Park. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Mike, you've been monitoring this fire all night long.
Yeah, I have one. And, you know, there are still some voluntary evacuations in place for the Fraser Park area on the Kern County side, just west of the 5 freeway. The good news, though, tonight, the smoke appears to be really dying down. I want to show you my computer here, and I'll show you some of the images here. These are from the Alert California wildfire cameras. I backed this up here. It's about 2:45 this afternoon, and I want you to see kind of how big the fire got at one point. Lots of heavy smoke going on there. Again, just to the west of the 5 freeway. The 5 freeway never impacted by the fire. Thankfully here, that would have caused a lot of problems there for people. But you see the smoke got really, really thick at one point. They had a lot of aircraft on this, and as the night has gone on, it has slowly started to dissipate, and you see that happening right here. CAL FIRE now mapping this fire at about 150 acres after all is said and done here. They'll still be out there putting out hot spots. You can see as night starts to fall, there is still kind of a whisper of smoke up there, though certainly getting better as we watch the sunset there in that shot. I want to show you some other video, though. Kern County Fire posting this, where you can see the hand crews trying to do some of that work to get the hot spots out there as they move up the hills. Lots of aircraft on this, helicopters from here from LA County as well. The Chinooks, LA County Fire helping out as well. Even some fixed wing tankers dropping retardant on there, certainly making a huge difference. Very topography driven right there. I'm sure pretty warm up there as well, Juan.
I bet. All right, Mike, keep us posted if anything changes there. Yep. Thanks so much. All right, let's take a live look tonight at the Big Bear Nest Cam. Any day now, our favorite eaglets, Sunny and Gizmo, could fly for the very first time. For the meantime, they're taking a nap. But for the past several days, they've been showing us they're ready, or at least trying to get ready. Experts say the eaglets are now 12 years old, which puts them in the middle of their 10 to 14-week flight window. And once they take to the skies, Jackie and Shadow, the parents, will become flight instructors, teaching them how to find food and fish.
Usually it's about a month that the fledglings stay around in the territory. The adults continue to feed them. And then one day they just decide to start exploring the area and may head a few miles and come back. And then one day they just don't return. They're off on their own.
Well, when they fly, we'll have it for you. Wildlife biologists say Jackie and Shadow won't be empty nesters for long. They'll probably have more eaglets, we hope, this coming winter. All right, to next weather right now with the weekend warm up in place, and some areas are going to be a little warmer than others. And meteorologist Danny Roberti is tracking it all.
We've got some sizzling summer-like temperatures in store for us, and we're just 24 hours away from it, you guys. Warm going into the weekend, and Juan, it's going to feel more like Florida in some areas.
Because of the humidity,
because
right?
the humidity. We're not used to that here in Southern California. You know, so this is different for us. But yeah, things are getting hotter. It felt warmer out there today. We were in the mid-90s. But for Lancaster, tomorrow, we're jumping into the triple digits. This is going to be one of the areas that will be under that next weather alert. Let's take a look at Riverside. Mid-80s today. Once we get to tomorrow, 15 degrees warmer, upper 90s, flirting with the triple digits. So let's give you a look at what's next. The warming started today, and it's going to continue going into our Friday. It's going to be an inland Friday scorcher for us here in Southern California. And I mentioned that humidity this week, and it's not going to feel as humid as what we see in Florida. But still, for our standards, for our liking, it's going to be a little bit more humid because we're going to start to transport some tropical moisture in, even a chance for showers. And let me talk about why that is. So this trough of low pressure, this guy, it's one of those those lows that actually broke away from the jet stream. And this guy, it's a cutoff low. He's meandering his way towards the Baja coast. Just going to hang out there, stall out there for a couple of days. But we are going to start to transport some tropical moisture from this guy. As of right now, though, we're sandwiched between these two systems. Offshore flow is back and it's feeling warmer. It started today and it's going to feel even warmer tomorrow. And then this weekend, still hot Saturday, not as hot as Friday, but a little bit stickier out there. And then by Sunday, we're looking at highs in the upper 70s and a chance for showers. I'll show you that in the next 7 days. But the big story for our friends in the Antelope Valley, in all of our high desert communities, our inland deserts, we will be under a next weather alert starting tomorrow. And this is because we're talking about some summer-like heat here in Southern California. These areas jumping into the triple digits. And for the Antelope Valley, this is going to be the first time we hit the triple digits this year. 101 in Lancaster. San Bernardino is not under this alert. We've already seen some really hot temperatures this year, but you can see it's going to be another toasty one tomorrow, 101. Woodland Hills in the upper 90s, downtown LA, mid 80s. And look, even our beaches getting pretty warm with less of that marine layer. We'll see the mid 70s for Newport Beach. Tomorrow morning, the marine layer, it's going to get squashed for a lot of our areas, and it's going to be a little bit more shallow. And when we get a shallow marine layer, that means some dense fog. It's possible for our beaches, mid 60s for a lot of us, low to mid 60s out there, so a little bit warmer than this morning. We'll start the day with sunshine in Orange County, upper 60s, and then we make that climb, 11 o'clock, upper 70s, low 80s by 2 o'clock, and it is all about the heat. 102 in San Bernardino, triple digits in Palmdale, Lancaster, upper 90s in Santa Clarita, close to 90 in downtown Los Angeles. Still hot Saturday, still above average, but look at the cooling that takes place next week. We're down to the low 70s, so it's going to feel 20 degrees cooler out there. Valley, slight chance for showers Saturday to Sunday because of that tropical moisture. Inland Empire going into the weekend, 90s turn to 80s, turn to the 70s once we get to Tuesday. So again, 20 to 25 degrees cooler out there. A big change. The roller coaster continues. Our high deserts go from 101 to the 80s. We're going to see some winds picking up by the time we get to Monday. Our mountains, the best chance for showers, it will be for our mountain communities. Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Some thunderstorms could pop up. And beaches, May gray turns to June gloom coming up on. I want to time out the possibility for rain this weekend. We'll break all that down for you coming up in your next weather.
Yeah, we'd all like to know when it happens. All right, Danny, thank you. A social media campaign tonight to find the owner of this backpack with an elephant buddy attached. Amy Robinson stumbled upon the bag filled with personal items in a rental car from Enterprise Rent-A-Car at LAX last Friday. Robinson is a mother of 7 kids, so she knows how important the backpack and stuffed animal is to a kid.
This right here, I just immediately thought of the baby that might have been crying, wondering where her best friend is. There's a kid out there that the mom and dad were in a hurry, and now what they love is missing. I'm going to cry right now thinking about it.
Well, there is some good news to report tonight. The rental car company says it has found the family, and Robinson hopes the owner and the backpack will soon be reunited within days. The housing market currently seeing something it hasn't seen in over a decade, but is a good news for buyers. And ahead here at 9, Riverside County cutting costs to rehome thousands of animal shelters. Looking for a new home, an analysis from real estate company Redfin finds there were roughly 500,000 more sellers than potential buyers in the market as of April. That is the biggest gap between those two groups since 2013. And despite the overabundance of supply, home prices are still on the rise, according to the National Association of Realtors. Meantime, mortgage rates rose to nearly 7%. That's the highest level since early February. That, of course, further pushes up the cost for home buyers. The average rate on a 30-year mortgage is now 6.89%. However, that's down from 7.03% 1 year ago. Have you had your home or renter's insurance canceled recently, or are you having trouble getting insured? We've heard so many questions and concerns from you swirling around home insurance. So starting Monday, we're dedicating an entire week here at KCAL News to get you answers. From insurance experts to people who've already gone through the insurance maze, we've got you covered. On Tuesday, KCAL News On Your Side reporter Christine Lazar will host a live phone bank ready to take your calls and your questions. Then KCAL News anchor Pat Harvey will host a town hall on Thursday night. We'll take your questions directly to insurance leaders and homeowner advocates. That's all next week, right here on KCAL News. A rock star avoids jail time over a deadly crash. The plea deal and why his legal troubles aren't over. Plus, Mike back on the desk with new video tonight of a deadly police shooting. A man shot and killed outside his Long Beach home. The shooter is still on the loose tonight. Neighbors told KCAL News reporter Michelle Gili what they saw and heard.
Like a pop, 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 like that.
Tran Huai heard 3 shots coming from his next-door neighbor's home on Harding Street in Long Beach, but was too afraid to go outside. Others in the neighborhood heard the same thing around 5:15 a.m. One neighbor who didn't want to go on camera says that his mom ran out of the house after hearing the gunshots, and she found a man here dead on the driveway. She called police. That neighbor says that a father and a son live here, and they'd often argue. He tells me he hasn't seen them here today. Long Beach police haven't released anything about the shooter, but confirmed that a man was found with a gunshot wound to the upper body. His identity has not been released. Someone who lives down the street says at the same time several gunshots were heard, a maroon truck was spotted in front of the house. Another neighbor says that a family member saw a person wearing a mask driving past the murder scene.
5:15, 5:30, the police knocked my door and asking for something happen out here. Do I know about it? I say I don't know, but I heard the pop 3 times. I told the police about it.
Investigators spent hours at the home. At one point, they carried out long white boxes marked with the word evidence and a picture of a gun on the side. An animal control officer took something from the home in a small cage, but wouldn't answer any questions. Neighbors don't know the renters who live here. They are shaken by the violence.
Not good. It's scary. We felt fairly comfortable here because it's such a group of different ethnicities, I guess. But everybody gets along pretty much.
In Long Beach, Michelle Gili, KCAL News.
Former Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist Josh Klinghoffer avoided jail time for killing a pedestrian in 2024. Security video shows the moment 47-year-old Israel Sanchez was run over and killed by Klinghoffer in Alhambra. Klinghoffer pleaded no contest this week to misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter without gross negligence. He'll serve 1 year of informal probation and do 60 days of community labor. Klinghoffer's legal troubles are far from over. The Sanchez family has filed a civil lawsuit. The family accuses him of driving distracted before he hit Sanchez. 2 suspected retail thieves busted, the pair accused of using stolen credit cards to shop at the Irvine Spectrum Center. Police arrested the suspects in Dana Point, recovering most of the stolen merchandise. The items were returned to Apple, Lululemon, and Sephora. Police say both are from Chile and face a string of charges, including theft and conspiracy. To Skid Row now, where animals are being neglected and in some cases barely surviving. KCAL News reporter Amanda Starantino spoke with animal advocates doing what they can, but we warn you, the crisis is getting worse.
The dog's not in the cage anymore.
We Walk the Streets with Starts With One Today, a nonprofit that offers humanitarian services to everyone on Skid Row, both humans and dogs.
There's always a conversation about should homeless people have dogs, and we're not, of course, we are totally for that. But it's the abused dogs that don't get any attention from anybody.
Hi, sweetie. Within minutes, we met Rocky, a 5-month-old pit bull, sick, lethargic, and unvaccinated.
But he's obviously sick.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Joey Tuccio helped convince Rocky's owner to let them take him to a vet. Rocky tested positive for parvo, a deadly virus. He may only have a few days left. This video posted by the Stand Up for Pits Foundation shows pit bulls in wire crates covered by tarps in 90-degree heat.
There is just animal abuse happening in plain sight, and it continues to be ignored year after year after year. And it makes no sense because the laws apply to everybody. So if someone in Beverly Hills had pit bulls under a tarp baking in the sun, laying in their own feces and urine, they'd be removed. And it would probably be front page news. But I guess the laws only apply to certain demographics.
Rebecca Corey with the foundation says she called LAPD twice after seeing the dogs.
The second time I called the police, it was a 28-minute conversation with the operator, and she refused to send an officer.
Advocates say this is not a rare exception. They see it weekly and have been reporting abuse for years.
The dogs are usually off leash?
off leash, yeah, or cramped in those little crates. Yeah.
We rescued a few dogs that were hit by a car.
What they also use their dogs for is to test their drugs, to make sure there's not fentanyl, they're not laced. So we have had several dogs overdose on fentanyl down here.
Earlier this month, the district attorney promised to crack down on animal abuse.
If you want to commit criminal acts of cruelty against animals, we will find you, we will arrest you, and we will prosecute you and punish you to the full extent of the law.
But advocates say those promises have not made it to these streets.
They really need to enforce. They need to make examples of a few people, of whether it's dog abuse, dog neglect, dog breeding, but there is no enforcement, so they get away with it.
You reach out to law enforcement or the DA's office and ask for, support with this.
Silence.
Silence. The police tell us to call animal control. Animal control tells us to call the police. It just bounces back and forth.
Rocky is now in the emergency hospital fighting for his life. Rescuers say for every dog they save, dozens more are suffering, and until the city and county enforces its own laws, these dogs will keep dying in plain sight.
Beautiful angel.
On Skid Row, Amanda Starrentino, KCAL News.
As we wind down Mental Health Awareness Month, KCAL Cares is doing its part to help those affected by the Palisades and Eaton fires. This week, we're focused on Medical Mission Adventures, an organization that began with the goal of reaching those in need where they are. They started by offering medical, vision, and dental health, but after the Maui wildfires, the group realized that mental health support was critical for wildfire survivors. KCAL News spoke with an ER doctor who found herself in need.
I am a high energy ER doctor. I'm used to trauma. I'm used to difficult situations, but there were days I could not get out of bed. I could not stop crying. And there was this weird moment after we finally felt safe when our mental health started tanking.
If you would like to help Medical Mission Adventures, simply scan the QR code there you see on your screen. You can also go to kcalnews.com and click KCAL Cares. And if you or someone you know is struggling or looking for help with mental health, we have a full list of resources on our website. Head to kcalnews.com/mental health awareness. Rail service reinforced after a long wait, a little over a week left until the San Clemente rail line fully reopens. Plus, the annual race to get the last word in, who'll be named the nation's top speller for 2025.